I'm moving around over there.
Hey, kid, I'm trying to get comfortable here.
Sounds like it at all.
Hey, hey, I'll work on it.
Gotta have more gravel.
It's like a half-assed John Wayne. It's not even.
Hey, kid.
Hey, kid.
Welcome to Behind the Barcast.
I'll give it a go. Here's my impression of Kelly walking in the door tonight. Okay, what are we doing here? Welcome to From Behind the Barcast, the podcast for bartending service industry, and I don't know what the hell's going on right now. Thank you guys for listening again this week. As always, we're brought to you by Thai Bean Art and Coffee Bar. Why don't you warm up with a nice latte, cool down with an Americano. We are back, and it looks a little different, doesn't it, Kelly?
A little different setup today.
That's Sunset Kelly you're looking at right there. I'm Paxton Eugene. This is From Behind the Barcast. Kelly, you have do you have headphones, earphones for your phone?
I have my I do. I have some JBLs. Very nice.
So you'll like when you go out walking around, running or something like that. You'll have
No.
You're not a music listener when you're exercising.
No.
Okay. Are you? Do you?
I don't have earbuds. I have like big cans.
You're wearing
so
like
I don't want to run with those. It
okay.
seems stupid.
that seems excessive.
Yeah, that's a little much.
Yeah. Well, the only reason I ask is, when you speak on the telly, that's the telephone for all you Americans. When you're on the telly, do you ever go hands free with it? Since you don't have well, I guess not. You don't have earbuds or anything like that.
No. But so, I mean, my other option is to put it on speaker so everybody can hear what the fuck I'm talking about.
And you would never do that, right?
No.
Okay, no. I agree. Okay, now here's the thing. Because there's a certain, for me, when I see you in public, you must look, number one, of a certain age and of a certain, not tax bracket, but you got to be dressed a certain way for me to believe that you're not a crazy homeless person speaking to themselves.
Oh, gotcha.
Whenever you have earbuds in, taking a call.
Right.
And I'll give you the example. We live on Tybee Island, Georgia.
Beautiful Tybee Island, Georgia.
There is not, there's an amount of vagrancy amongst our populace, but it's not the vagrancy you would typically think about, like digging in trash cans,
right,
begging for money. There's a lot of vagrants, but they're housed inside of bars and restaurants.
Yeah.
Working there. They're gainfully employed vagrants. So whenever you see someone who looks like the more archetypical vagrant,
we've all got an image in our mind,
right?
Wherever you're from.
All right, so I'm at the beautiful JC Park where we go play disc golf sometimes, and where we walk around. It's a meeting place.
Got good 8,500 steps.
Right. Yeah.
18.
They just measured out the soccer field out there for the youngins. They got basketball. They got pickleball, but who gives a shit about that?
Nice playground. Very safe.
Nice, safe playground.
Up to code.
So this woman's out there. She's probably late 50s, early 60s, and she's pushing around what looks like a baby carrier.
Okay.
But it doesn't look like there's a sweet little baby inside necessarily, because vagrants... somehow either find, I know how they find shopping carts.
Yeah.
But the Vogue
Mobile home, baby.
Yeah, the Vogue new shopping cart is the baby carrier. Or what, stroller, I'm sorry.
Sure. Yeah.
Baby carrier you hold. The stroller, And that's where all their, half smoked cigarettes and half drink bottles of spiced rum are going to be.
Easy on the spiced rum. Okay.
And pushing it at a very fervent, fever pitch level around the park is this lady.
All right, so she's not shuffling along.
No,
she's not just...
there's some purpose in her pushing this pram.
So this is somebody that came from one of the adult rehabilitation places.
This isn't for the not old folks home that we have
doing something with some
here.
intent.
So I'm like, okay, here's a new flavor of Vagrant for Tybee that's not in a bar drinking. It's the crazy lady talking to herself, pushing around a baby stroller, which probably contains, half-eaten granola bars and, a Bud Ice.
Yeah.
So, as my buddy and I's round of golf continues on, we get to a place geographically where we're very close to her.
Uh-huh.
I get closer and closer. She has a new iPhone, earbuds, and a child.
Is she on the walking path within the park?
Yep.
Okay.
She was not a vagrant at all.
Of course not.
She was wearing shitty clothes that you go out to exercise in.
Oh, all right. Wait, it seems like most people who are dolled up when they go out and exercise on the road. Me, I just kind of put my shoes on, whatever shorts I got there to close by, a t-shirt. But there are people who wear the ensemble.
Right. No. Well, this lady is not of the age where she's like, I ain't trying to look cute. She looked like Agent Starling at the beginning of Silence of the Lambs. Sweat ring around the sweatshirt. Frumpy. They call them like, what do they call them? Pump covers.
Pump cover.
She wasn't dressing for anyone. She was dressing for comfort.
That's great.
And it was chilly. And she must have been pushing her granddaughter or grandson around in the baby stroller and having a legitimate conversation on the phone. But from the distance at which I was,
I'm liking everything about this.
She read as Vagrant. New flavor of Vagrant here on Tybee.
All right, so frumpy outfit.
Right.
Just wearing some sweats, just whatever works to keep me
salt
warm.
And pepper hair that was barely in any sort of ponytail.
Okay.
But it didn't look like
purely function versus form.
100%.
Fashion.
100%. Yeah. She was using that baby stroller as ankle weights, basically.
Was there anything in the baby stroller?
Of a child.
I hope so.
There wasn't Bud Ice, granola bars, half cigarettes, needles, NyQuil, none of those things. Yeah. It was a human child.
Oh my God.
Living with a bottle. It had a little fan in there. It looked warm, cherubic, if I could say such a word.
You did.
And I did. So my perception of this, it was almost like the guy in Home Alone 1 and the girl and the pigeon lady in Home Alone 2. I learned a Christopher Columbus, and we're not talking about Columbus that invaded the U.S. Christopher Columbus, the writer of both Home Alone movies. Uh-huh. I lived a Christopher Columbus script, all in one round of disc golf with my buddy Dave, my neighbor. Happy birthday to him. Nice. Yeah,
right on.
Yeah. And well, interesting. Hold on, my light turned off.
Your brow's been furrowed again. Is that rickety thing plugged in?
It is. I might just have to be furrowed.
It doesn't look happy.
Yeah.
All right.
I just have to be furrowed. Doesn't matter anyways. So, and this is all occurring, like I said, while me and my buddy Dave were playing disc golf, a round of disc golf for his birthday, and he said, "Oh yeah, Vagrant's here because all right. So you and I have played over there,
sure,
and we've seen the one guy because all right. If you don't know, it's not an old folks' home because none of the people in that place are old.
It's sliding scale, but yeah, old. Yeah, okay.
It looks like a rehabilitation center for mentally unwell people.
I would
that are fat.
I think one's assisted living and one is rehabilitation.
Okay, yeah, but they don't look like addicts to me necessarily, like recovering addicts, because they're all very large.
Yeah.
Oh, they're in wheelchairs not because they.
We used to do some deliveries over there, and it was kind of a chore because you had to be buzzed in. It wasn't like they had to be on a list, but it took a minute,
sure.
Yeah. And then da. So we stopped doing that, and COVID kind of gave us an out on that. Thank God.
I know what they look like though.
Yeah,
because they're all in a wheelchair. 90% of the time.
And it feels like half the time they're sneaking out sometimes because you'll see them over
in the gazebo,
or the gazebo, or over by like Chews and
ripping burners. I've seen this one lady who is very large, and I understand it's probably hard for her to walk.
Sure,
but she pedals her wheelchair.
Yep, I know.
Is that any harder than walking? And all the way up to the next convenience store, which is not a small
I mean, as flat as Tybee
scurry
is,
away.
No, it's a hop, skip, and a shuffle. No doubt about it.
So I know
one leg in it.
I know what they look like. Like they have a flavor, which is a very distinct flavor. It's menthol, but
or weed
or weed. But so as we were playing the round, my buddy Dave told me, he goes, yeah, he found what was an actual vagrant out there. And him and my other neighbor were playing disc golf, and they walked by, and the guy goes, hey. And they go, hey. He's got like duffel bag, you know. Uh-huh. I mean, short of stick with a bandana filled with items.
Yeah.
But you can tell the large backpack with like plastic bags on the side.
We always seem to have one every 2-3 years.
So
we've had some that have lasted a lot longer than I thought they would.
I think we get subsidies from Atlanta. They're like, all right, send 2 down to Tybee for this month. Oh, that's fine.
Yeah, cool.
Send 2 down to Tybee for this month.
Yeah.
And then when they finally get arrested or run off, they send us some new ones.
Well, when you leave Tybee, and it's a pretty good, it's about 6 miles and change to get out here from Bull River.
Yeah.
Just walking one way.
Right.
Or riding one way, whatever. So if you see somebody walking, it's pretty much one of two, three things. Yeah. You know, either you're actually getting exercise.
Yeah.
Maybe you broke down and you're like, well, it's too far to go back towards Bull River, so I'm just going to keep on digging towards Tybee. Or you got the life experience person, the one who's looking for new horizons.
Yep.
And maybe they're not completely disheveled, overly disheveled. Maybe there's some plausible deniability because they got their shit just together
enough not to get immediately Rambo'd.
Yeah.
You don't get the reference, I'm not going to explain it.
That might be the best one I've ever heard. Oh, gosh, that's awesome.
So the guy's in the middle of the park, and they walk by him along their disc golfing journey, and he goes, hey. And they said, hey. He goes, what would you do if I opened this Bible up and took a shit in it right now? And they go, don't know what to tell you, man. They kept playing golf. So that's do you remember? Now you're absolutely right that because the causeway is such a long stretch.
Yeah.
If you're walking towards Tybee, typically it's like it's either you're finding the new horizon as a newly fired or divorced or kicked out of the homeless shelter, whatever, right? There was a guy, everyone really remarked on him because we're a small island.
Yeah.
And I probably went to work that night, and about 5 or 6 of the people that were in the bar were like, hey, did you see the guy walking down 80 today? And they were like, yeah, didn't he look kind of crazy, whatever?
Yeah.
An hour later, we hear all these sirens or whatever. The guy had just gotten out of jail.
Uh-huh.
And he didn't want to live on the outside. But they stuck him somewhere, so he just started walking to like clear his head.
He was institutionalized at that point.
Oh.
He'd much rather be on the inside.
Yeah, right, exactly. Yeah, so
they brought it up in Shawshank Redemption.
So he walked down to Tybee and put a brick through the first convenience store's window and sat there and waited on the cops to come get him.
Right. Yep.
Very Shawshank.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, I mean, I think if you make your way out to Tybee, and I'm absolutely assuming this, but it seems like if you make your way out to Tybee, maybe you're a pro at this point. You know? It's like, maybe you don't know anything about Tybee in general. Like, you didn't realize it was as small as it is when you got out here. You thought maybe it's going to be like Folly Beach or something where we've got miles and miles of beach, to hide out and wherever. But here, your options are kind of limited. But I've seen some guys last quite a while out here. And it seems like as long as they just stay out of the way, don't mooch or panhandle,
right?
You can be wandering up and down the streets as long as you're not bothering anybody, and then you disappear into the bush at night,
right? Maybe don't try and get too friendly with too many people at the same time, and a lot of times it's probably better if you don't have enough money to go out to the bars and drink.
Right. Yeah, but the ones I'm talking about are like, you would see them around town, walking up and down Butler or 80 at certain times a day.
Yeah.
But they weren't bothering anybody. They weren't outside each shoes.
Yeah.
Like, hey.
They might just be walking because some of those guys are like, hey, they'll go and take out a business's trash.
Right.
For $5 a day or something like that.
There could be that.
But there's one guy that works for a buddy of mine now. I think he just walked down here and showed up, and he's one of those guys that's unhoused.
Yeah.
for whatever reason, but he wants to work, so they gave him a job.
Okay.
I mean, there's always.
I'm not saying they're all batshit crazy.
No,
by any means.
I kind of am, but there is the exceptions. You know?
Well,
I mean, in the overall, man, when you see a guy walking down the street, you can kind of tell.
I mean, when you see somebody typing an imaginary thing,
cat pawing,
that kind of crap, then there's something there. Arguing with themselves because they're schizophrenic and all that.
Right.
But like I said, the ones seems like
or pushing a stroller without a baby in it.
Hey, I was almost game for all right. She was frumpy exercising and she had 2 cinder blocks in the baby carrier because actually she's just the aunt and my sister's not using this carrier anymore and there's some whole nother story there. But no, she's just somebody.
She was just a grandmother who was out there exercising, with talking
with her earbuds
with her earbuds at late 50s, early 60s.
Dude.
I had it wrong.
Well, I should have assumed anything because my mom's the same way. She wears hearing aids. We call her the ears. She does not have them in, and you're not right in front of her. Nothing. So, but her Bluetooth is dialed in through her phone into her ear. When she's got her ears on.
Yep.
So all of a sudden, I'll be in the kitchen,
yep.
and she'll just be like, "Oh, sure, yeah."
Yeah.
And like I didn't even know she was on the phone with somebody.
Yep.
I'm like, "What'd you say, Mom?" Uh-huh. Yep. Yeah. Well, no, I could be there at 8 a.m. tomorrow. Where are we going to be at 8 a.m. tomorrow, Mom?
Oh, Bridge again, not with Cheryl.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, she makes it take so long. You have a watch?
Yeah, I do.
You purposely didn't put your notifications from your phone to your watch, correct?
I think it just kind of did it automatically. It vibrates if somebody calls me.
Okay, so no text or anything like that?
No, nothing like that.
All right, so I'll tell you why. So both of my watches have the option. This is my tactical watch.
This
is a beast.
That's a unit right there.
Yeah, this is a unit.
That is a
unit. And then I
unit.
have my, sweaty run around watch,
Yeah. But you got the arm for that. If I wore that thing, I would look ridiculous. It would look like just a pie plate. Like this, hey, look at my watch. Oops, sorry. There's my watch. Yeah.
Killing his giant watch wasn't necessary. But it'll try and automatically have your like text messages or any alerts go there. So I turned them all off. Okay. Well, last week I'm interviewing Ken Yasker, who is running for the governor of Georgia in 2026.
Right on, man. Go.
And we'll talk about that in a second. But the first thing, so we had set it up where he was going to have to work at 4:00 that day. So I got him here at 2, and I told him it would not be over an hour. And I was fully set up by the time he got here. So we were off and running at 2:15.
Cleaned up the front porch?
Well, I think I did that after.
Really?
Yeah.
Interesting.
I don't care about impressing him. Well, no. 2:15. We are off and running, brother.
Yeah.
And dude's like checking his watch constantly, and I was like, I kind of want to be like, you'll get to work, man.
Okay.
But he's not disengaged.
Well, he's got to be able to be a multitasker.
Well, the dude's got every text, every notification from his phone going to his damn watch.
Gotcha.
So someone calls, someone texts, someone this, someone that,
whatever.
So I was like, after the episode was over, I was like, look, man, I gotta tell you something. I don't care that you did it on the podcast, like on camera, or maybe he wasn't on camera whenever he was doing it. But I was like, look, in the future, whenever you're talking to anybody that's like, asking you, not serious questions, but any kind of serious conversation, you looking at your watch is the auto, whether they know that you're looking at a notification, don't even look at the notification.
Right. Set aside that 45, 38 minute window.
I'm not saying it's unprofessional because like what is professional? I don't care. But it was off-putting to me.
Yeah. Well,
and I'm fat. I should be off-putting. That's a Zach Galifianakis joke. Thank you very much. Anyways, but yeah, so I was like, dude, but
it's just a pro tip, even from this minimal platform.
Right. But the whole time I'm like, you're not going to be late for work, bro.
Yeah.
And so then it carried over when I was playing golf with my buddy Dave the other day. I was like, where do you have to be? But he's getting his job notifications on his phone, but it's coming into his watch.
So wait a second. Were you as bothered because you were playing disc golf as you were during the podcast?
No.
Okay, I was gonna say, because one would seem like it's.
No, I was just like, where do you have to be? Well, like, why did you agree to this? If something was very pertinent.
Yeah, when I bring my phone out, now I've got my handy dandy little thing here on my wrist that keeps track of my steps. I don't have to worry about bringing my phone anymore. But I used to bring it when we were walking, and I would check it every now and then, just kind of like, well, how much does it take to really walk 18 holes?
Yeah, but what if I'm telling you the end of my story, and you're like, oh yeah, cool, huh? Yeah,
7,000.
Yeah,
steps.
man, come on, bro. Come on.
I hear you, man.
Come on, man.
I get you. Pro tip, I get it.
But so yeah, we the podcast went really well though. So
I thought so.
He not unlike most people, not in politics necessarily, but just people that I interview, when they get here, they're like, all right, what should I be prepared for? And what they mean by that is, what are you going to try and gotcha on? I'm like, nothing, man. I'm just going to ask you what anybody else would ask you.
We're just having a conversation.
We're just talking, baby. And I didn't want to make it too comedic.
Sure.
Because I don't know his sense of humor, and I wouldn't want him to think that me being comedic about anything would demean or be diminutive of his political platform. But the first bit of humor I could stick in there was he said they call him a rhino,
Okay.
RINO, Republican in name only.
All right.
Because he's not, he's gay. He's super moderate and center,
Right.
so he doesn't fit along with a lot of their stuff, whatever.
Well, you need a little bit of spice on each side of the aisle.
That's what I'm saying.
Yeah.
But I go, Rhino. I thought that side hated acronyms. You know what I mean? Like LGBT. I was like,
everything's got one.
I was like, man, they're quick to give you an acronym, even though they seem to hate it. But anyways, so I've talked to some people, and some of the feedback was, I had one person come to me and say, hey, they knew the guy was running, but there wasn't a good place to hear as much information as possible, all condensed into one conversation.
Such as a podcast.
Such as a podcast that's about 55 minutes of a guy talking uninterrupted.
Sorry.
Damn you, Kelly. What are we doing here? So I was able to direct a few people there. So then I was telling some people about it. I was like, hey, I interviewed this guy, and I started to give him the rundown about, how, that he voted for Trump. And immediately you see people's demeanor change. Mm-hmm. And I'm like, look, as dismissive as you are, as soon as I say the word that he voted for Trump, I didn't vote for Trump. I don't like Trump. I don't care about any president, really. Okay. Because I know they don't give a shit about me. Yeah. So when I see people's air go out of their bodies, I'm like, what you just did there is what we've been doing to each other this entire time. I knew that I wouldn't agree with a lot of things that Ken said or that Ken believes. He's a Christian. I'm not. Yeah, okay. That could have been a huge thing.
Sure.
But it's not, because we're fucking adults. Okay.
Yeah. And that's not this is not the platform
This isn't the platform for it. Yeah.
I mean, on the fringe.
But I was like, whenever I told people that he voted for Trump, certain people, they're like, oh, well, I'm like, see, you automatically dismiss this dude. When you should, I get it, but you shouldn't, because guess what? I didn't dismiss him. I talked to him for 45 minutes, and I found entirely more common ground with him that I did not know existed than if I had not spoken to the guy. Can we just talk to each other, guys?
Just give me something rational.
Yeah.
Not so extremist. And that pendulum swings both ways.
Yeah, exactly.
In my book, I have no problem voting across party lines.
Well, he doesn't. No, he's just gay. He doesn't swing both ways.
No, I don't. My point is
comedy. Come on, man.
But without too politicizing any of this and all that, just give me an informed answer. It may not change my mind, but at least it'll enlighten me.
That was the other thing. But he and I did agree on, if the person sitting across from you is not attempting to change your mind, that's so much easier to deal with.
Yeah, I think it gets lost on a lot of people that there's a debate format of some sort.
Right. Yeah.
When you have a beer in your hand and your drink is your gavel, all of a sudden.
Yeah. Right. Yeah.
And when the other person's not agreeing with you, you can drink more beer, and your gavel gets a little more bang, bang, bang.
So if you didn't tune into last week's episode, maybe because you just thought that you wouldn't, to the listeners out there, if you skip the episode because of any of that, I at least give it 15 minutes, and you'll understand that, and it's just adults having a conversation who disagree on a lot of things, but
and it helps our algorithm too.
Also helps the algorithm. He so he's doing for his homeless thing, he's doing a ruck, which he's in the military, so He's walking with his big ass. He's going to be Rambo. He's going to be a vagrant walking through. And, he doesn't have a lot of money to run. So, so he has a rucksack and legs and can walk around the state. And he'll be walking through the towns in Georgia that most politicians don't even know exist or care about because they only have populations of 300 or 400 people, Kelly. He wants to show people he may not be a rich, experienced politician, but the work he'll put into campaigning is the work he will put in once he is elected. So, he's willing to walk the mile, I guess. I also want people to realize that I can put myself through these physical and mental challenges they go through when they're going through tough times. There is a warrior in all of us, he says. I like his approach just in terms of he's not necessarily going door to door.
Yeah.
But he's raising awareness for homelessness and all this stuff.
Grassroots.
And by looking like a homeless person walking through all these towns, except a really fit homeless person who has all his teeth and wears tight shirts with his own name on it.
He strikes me as the kind of guy that's going to be just fine if the apocalypse happens.
Yeah, I get that feeling.
Like if I have to go up into the hill country, and survive.
Yeah, I get that. I get
he's going to be just fine.
Yeah, right. Speaking of walking and vagrancy and litter, right, or whatever the hell we got going on here. When you're walking down the street, do you, outside of a gum wrapper, let's say you were walking past, let's say all of a sudden you're walking down the street and the movie American Beauty starts happening. There's
it's happened to me.
The plastic grocery bag, almost in a vortex, and it's twisting and whirling and rising and falling and listing.
Yeah.
Hovering.
Traditionally for me, that moment happens either to work or coming home from work because I walk right by Stingrays. They've got their dumpster right there on 14th. And then I go up 14th towards Breezy Headquarters, and we got the beach right there. So there's a big parking lot right there. So that whimsical, I've seen that floaty baby, and I've grabbed a few out of the air.
So I've got about a 20-yard perimeter that I'm willing to chase one down.
Okay.
Right?
Sure.
I mean,
as long as you don't look silly.
Yeah. And especially because some of them don't want to be caught. Right? All right. So I'm walking down the street the other day, and it's on the sidewalk, and there's a guy walking his dog about 40 yards from me. And he's about to hit the whirling plastic bag.
Yeah.
But it's on the ground at this point. There's not a lot of wind.
Is it full blown like billowing?
It's billowing.
Okay.
It's ta-ta-ta. And he's got his dog. He walks past it, has to make an effort to really step over it.
Oh.
He's not picking it up.
Interesting.
But the dog has now taken offense to this plastic bag being in the world. So now the dog is going after the bag. Now the guy, anger, throws it away. He's like, hey, he disciplines the dog.
Oh, see, that's where I was about to ask.
Grabs the bag and throws it away. And I was like, wow, dude, that's your life. It took your dog having the better humanism.
I think he's got other problems besides that bag and that dog.
Yeah. Well, at least he was walking the thing.
He didn't want to, apparently.
I wanted the dog to bite him while he was trying to fight the bag out of his hand or something like that. Like in Train Spotting when they're sitting out there in the field and they shoot the dog in the butt with the with the BB gun and it bites the owner.
Yeah.
But I was like, it took your dog thinking the bag was a threat for you to throw it away. Because now look, like I said, I have about a 20-yard perimeter.
Yeah.
If I see something that's egregiously trashy.
You're not going to run across 80 necessarily.
Right. But if I can just trot to it.
Sure.
Kind of easy.
Check traffic. Just kind of go, right, I can go out there. I'll go out there a couple lanes.
And it's not already a crazy tumbleweed just flying out of there.
I got you.
Yeah.
Yeah, I see the bags especially and all that. But in general, if I can easily pick it up, if it's a plastic bottle or a whatever. I'm not picking up somebody's bag of dirty shit, diapers or whatever, because they're
there's
or if someone leaves their bag of Chick-fil-A, anything, basically anything that's a chain has been ported onto this island. Yeah. And you see bags of it. I mean, there's literally you can't even make the argument for Arby's anymore.
No, because
Arby's is gone, so don't give me this. Well, I got it, and whatever. Anything that's imported, and they just leave it. It's like, well, we don't want it in our car now. You can't even put it in one of the 18 5-gallon drums they have in the parking lot. Or any corner, just about.
Any corner, and especially on the beach anywhere.
There's any park.
There's plenty of receptacles, man, and you can. you can.
Well, I mean, my tolerance for it's probably a little more than some people's, but I mean, I've got friends like my friend Hillary Junowitz. No quarter, baby. She has no tolerance, even cigarette butts, nothing. I mean, she'll put them in. She's like ultimate recycler. Like, we need to go by the certain Publix when we go to Wilmington because they have the styrofoam recycling for the to-go boxes.
That's a thing?
Like, oh yeah. You go outside the Publix and they've got like 4 different bins, I think, like plastic, paper, and normal waste, and even foam.
Yeah.
So she'll get in the car, we'll do our errands, and she brings like 2 or 3 to-go things, probably from the quarter or wherever.
Yeah.
And,
Oh man,
we got to go by that Publix over there by Papa Murphy's.
if someone walked in, or let's say you were bartending, and someone walked in, they sit down and they have Tito's and lemonade, and the other person has Tito's and sweet tea.
We talked about this.
So they have it, and then so they're a really nice couple. I'm liking them.
Yeah.
And then they go, I overhear them. It's like, oh, it's her birthday.
Oh, nice.
So they were like, so the guy was like, honey, you want to do birthday? Honey, you want to do birthday shots? A little bit of birthday shot. She goes, yeah. So I turned to her and I said, birthday, hey, you know what? I'll get you a shot for your birthday. We were kind of slow last night. So what do you want? She goes, here's the thing.
Oh, boy.
Now, I've heard a lot of things.
I'm sure you have. No doubt.
She goes, here's the thing. I don't like the taste of alcohol.
Are they just getting to know each other?
I have no idea.
Whoa. Let's unpack this just a little bit. Like she's been playing along the entire time. Where's this going?
I've heard I don't like tequila. I've heard nothing brown. I've heard nothing with Red Bull. I've heard nothing with juice.
Okay.
I've heard people say, can you make it where I don't taste the alcohol?
Sure. Yeah.
She, in general, she said, I do not like the taste of alcohol.
To him.
And they seemed very comfortable together.
Okay. But
it wasn't a first Tinder date.
All right. So was she more like maybe, I don't like the taste of alcohol. Like she's like joking it off like, because you know what it does to me.
No.
And 2 drinks and I'm fucked up. And
this was the mea culpa.
Really?
I don't like the taste of alcohol.
Here's kind of the thing.
Right. Let me tell you something about me.
Wow.
I don't like the taste of alcohol.
Now I'm fascinated. I got to know what
did I do?
No. Well, no. Yes, absolutely that. But how long have they been together? Like, how long has she been living this lie? This elaborate ruse?
I heard no other question like, so what do you do for work? So, do you like football?
Gotcha. Yeah.
I didn't hear any chat up first through 10th date questions.
Right.
So she goes, here's the thing about me.
Oh, boy.
I don't like the taste of alcohol. I go, how about a white tea? She goes, that sounds perfect. I've found, and this happens 100 times now.
No, all right, but she did get something with alcohol.
Yeah, she was already drinking a Tito's and lemonade.
She's just not enjoying the experience.
So I made the Tito's and lemonade for her. And I made it as I normally make it. Like I make pretty strong drinks, but not crazy strong.
Yeah.
So and I didn't get it. I didn't hear it right away. But she takes a sip, and I overhear the guy go, "Just mix it up a little more." So I think she was like, I thought that she was like, "Is there any alcohol in here?" Because that's typically the way people go with that shit.
Right.
But yeah, so
not on tabby.
So that was like the 5th time this weekend that someone goes, "We can't agree on this." I'm like, "How about a white tea?" It used to be green tea.
Yeah.
But it's easier to talk people into Tito's than Jameson.
What's in a Royal Flush? Is that Crown that's in the Royal Flush?
Crown Peach Cranberry.
All right, see, now traditionally, I wouldn't do a straight shot of Crown. It's not my go-to at all. I mean, I have no go-to shot anyway. I try to.
You're not a shooter.
Yeah, I mean, but just.
Do you prefer the taste of alcohol?
Yes.
Yeah, I know.
Yes, I do. This is well documented.
It's going to be really well documented in the Patreon tonight.
Yeah. Yeah, but there are definitely drinks that bridge the gap. I mean, and it sounds simple now, or way overly simple, but the first time I had a screwdriver.
Yeah.
Orange juice and vodka.
Yeah.
That was my first introduction into liquor drinking. And it was, and I could taste.
And what a drink it is.
Yeah, and I could say like, well, this tastes like OJ, but it doesn't taste quite like OJ. There's something else going on there in the back end.
Right. Yeah.
But that was my indoctrination into the world of hard liquor.
You mean mixed drinks or
Yes,
just hard liquor in
hard
general?
liquor in general, yeah. Because up until that point,
Yeah.
I started off with wine coolers, training wheels.
Yeah.
The easiest entry into, alcohol. And then I graduated to beer just out of necessity because it was so much cheaper
Right.
than 4 wine coolers.
Oh, yeah.
12-pack of
Demonstrably cheaper.
Yeah. I mean, the volume versus what you get bang for the buck. Yeah. It took one poor summer, like after my freshman year. And baby, I was on the fucking beer train.
It's a poor summer, drinking Keystone.
Dude,
30 cans at the time.
Every beer commercial ever all became focused at once. Understood it. That hot day outside mowing the lawn.
Were you dipping your 6-pack in a river?
Oh, dude, absolutely. Wiping the brow. Dude, I got it. It all became just laser focused.
Every beer ad worked as well.
Everyone, it all made perfect sense. Absolutely. Whoosh. Full on Interstellar, baby. Yeah.
My first indoctrination into alcohol in general is the most polar mix-up of things you've ever heard.
Okay.
I was living here, but my dad lived down in Brunswick. My parents have been divorced for like 7-8 years. They got divorced when I was like 5, so I was probably like maybe 13 or 14.
Yeah.
And when I would visit my dad down in Brunswick, there's a little less, because I lived with my mother and my stepdad down here on Tybee in a really small neighborhood.
Yeah.
And I would drink some beer because Paul had thousands he had a beer fridge.
Yeah.
And it was always full of Red Dog,
Red Dog.
Uh-huh. Sometimes Southpaw.
Whew.
And then he kept all his Miller Lights upstairs.
Yeah, maintenance beer.
Yeah. And so I'd drink a few of them, but I really didn't have the taste for it then.
Yeah.
But when I would go down to Brunswick, the neighborhoods were much bigger that I ran in, so there was more opportunity to have the old guy buy you booze or whatever.
Yeah.
So So listen to what we got. We got weed. Now this was when Zima was like first coming out, which if you're not familiar with Zima, it's the thing you put the Jolly Ranchers in, basically. Mm-hmm. We got a 6-pack of Zima and a pint of Golden Grain.
Whew.
Now, let's talk about polarity. Golden Grain is grain alcohol. It's the highest proof you could get then without it being moonshine.
Probably start your car with it.
Yeah.
If you needed to.
You could definitely light a fire with it.
Oh, yeah.
Battery corrosion.
Yeah. Lots of other
nail polish remover. Many uses.
Yes. Get drunk on it.
Get blind from it.
Yeah, sure.
So we were shooting shots of Golden Grain, chasing it with Zima. What would be considered the most pussy-ish, like...
Dude,
it was the first seltzer.
Dude, yeah, that's a step down from even a wine cooler to a degree. At least the wine coolers had some sophistication to them.
It was like alcoholic Sprite, and I'm not sure how much alcohol was in a Zima. I think it was like 4 or something.
It probably was, yeah. It was
nothing crazy like our Blue Bomber
level.
seltzers today.
No, not those babies.
No, not those
That'll
babies.
get you in trouble.
Yeah. So yeah, and then this is the first, and my dad said this to me. He goes, "I know you're drunk." And I said, "Why?" He goes, "Your eyes is glassy." I was like, "Is that a thing?"
Yeah, it is.
And me as a 14-year-old thinking I'm going to hide a Golden Grain and Zima drunk. Do you know what it smells? All right, and my dad didn't drink.
Interesting.
Like he might have drank in his life.
Yeah.
At some point, like
he was teetotaler.
Yeah, maybe after the war after Vietnam or something like that. But from any time that I've been alive that I remember, there was never beer in the house. I just never saw him drink. He just didn't drink.
Yeah, I got you.
So, all right. So let's say you hadn't drank for 2 or 3 days, or I don't know, your life.
Okay.
And a person walks in who has taken even the tiniest sip of Golden Grain.
Yeah.
They come in emanating that smell.
Yeah.
You think you're so slick as a kid.
Dude, I mean, vodka might be the only one you might have some plausible deniability. Maybe a little bit. Maybe. But to the untrained nose, like a cop rolling, like as soon as your window goes down in your car, have you been drinking? They know.
Yeah.
They could, I mean, they haven't been drinking. The cops, number one, so I'm not saying they're, but they're human. But you roll down that window, especially on a hot summer night.
Buddy.
They know.
Yeah.
Don't give me like you haven't had a
They
beer
know when
somewhere.
you drank the night before and then try to go to the store and get food at 3 a.m. the next day.
Yeah. To the untainted nose.
Oh, buddy. Because like one time I had been home for like 3 days straight. Not being sick, I just was sick of being being. And a buddy of mine showed up. I could smell him through the door.
Right. Did I get it?
Menthol cigarettes, Jameson, and Miller Lite. I was like, bro.
I totally understand that.
Yeah. But he had left something there, like, and I literally smelled him through the door.
Yeah.
So you as a kid thinking that you're getting away with that shit.
What's funny is I never once got that, that riot act read to me when I was a kid. I never came home drunk because I was such a picky eater, much less like beer to me didn't even smell or even look good. I mean, my dad drank it all the time, so you can call it learned behavior or a trait. I don't know, but I held it off for the longest time because I thought it smelled bad.
Yeah.
Especially when it dries up.
Buddy.
And that dry beer smell is even worse than the actual smell of it itself.
Yeah, spill a beer in a garage that has concrete and go walk in there the next day.
Or the car, whatever.
It stinks,
any bar.
It stinks, yeah.
Just about.
It's not a pleasant smell, even if you do like beer, really.
But that being said, so it took me a long time to get into it, but it wasn't anything big to me at all. My problem was I always got in trouble for getting home late or sneaking out, that kind of shit. But it wasn't, so I never had that come to Jesus moment with either of my parents. If anything, when I turned 21, and it wasn't like my dad all of a sudden noticed me, like, oh, you're 21, let's now I can start talking to you. No, we had a great relationship up to that point.
Yeah.
But I turned 21, we went to Vegas, did the prototypical.
You went to Vegas at 21?
Yes,
dang.
Man, dude, we had banging weekend, man.
Dang.
Learned how to play blackjack the right way finally, and to the point where we were losing so bad we went and saw Hoover Dam and all that shit. But it wasn't like. But I mean, after that point, my dad and I took our. I mean, I want to say it went to another level, not like in a good way. It was like, but you're 21 now.
Yeah.
Welcome to the brotherhood.
Right. Yeah.
The legal brotherhood. And dude, I'm not saying we got bombed every time we saw each other, but beer was involved from that point going forward. Is it
sort of like, man, here's another buddy I can have?
Yes, absolutely. I mean, and it was just one of those things.
It wasn't incumbent on you. It wasn't like, all right, here you go. Now you have to start drinking with me. But
I mean, up to that point, he was cool with it. Like,
you want a beer?
Yeah.
You do? So do I.
Yes.
Here, let's drink.
Yeah.
You know what we could drink? Couple of beers.
Dude, and his maintenance beer was Miller Lite.
Yep.
And oddly enough, mine was not. Mine was Bud Light.
Sure.
So when I'd come to visit, he'd make a special purchase to the store because he had the big fridge out in the garage, not unlike yours. Some Molsons in there or some Moose Heads and
a little bit of variety for whoever may show up.
Cates, that kind of thing. Coronas Light, whatever.
Yeah.
But every time I'd come, thered be a case or two with some Bud Light in there.
There you go.
We're going to the beach, so it's in cans.
Right. Yeah.
But if we're not going to the beach, it's in bottles.
Right. Yeah. Speaking of couple of beers. SNL just had Shane Gillis host last week, and they produced one of the best SNL sketches.
Yeah.
I'm not the SNL hater necessarily.
I like just watching it in parcel.
I watch the clips, because like, let's say over a whole hour show, there's probably like 2 really great sketches in each of them, like Washington's Dream, where Nate Bargatze plays Washington, and they're like, what will we call chicken after it's dead? We will call it chicken. Oh, what will we call cows after they're dead? That we will call beef.
Yeah.
Well, Shane Gillis is on there, and they produced one of the funniest sketches, and it was they always do the scaffolding of a lot of some of their things is the medical or the pharmaceutical drug parody.
Yes.
And this one is couple of beers. It goes, are you feeling depressed at work? Are you not getting along? Are you not confident? It goes, try a couple of beers. So it's running along and it goes, couple of beers. Works for a museum, hangover, this and that. Now, a side effect of a couple of beers is drowsiness. So ask your doctor if it's right for a little bump. And he holds up this package. It's got a quarter baggie in it and a key.
Sounds about right.
Yeah, if you're feeling a little drowsy from the beers, try a little bump. I was like, that hit 60% of the adult age drinkers here in the U.S. of A. Ask your doctor if a little bump is right for you. I was like, damn, that was good. Because like I said, like one or two like 1 or 2 sketches per show is pretty good. Like I can't sit through a whole one though. But that just brings me to the couple of beers turned into a couple of beers turned into a pack of cigarettes. And last week I joked that I got you sick last week, but you were out last week.
I was down, man.
And it was for an old reason.
Listen.
It was for an old reason that if you would like to hear about it, we will be.
Well, yeah, maybe.
We're going to talk about it on the Patreon.
Yeah, why not?
Yeah, we're going to do it on the Patreon. A little bit. A little bit. I'm going to leave you guys with this for now. So, yeah, if you'd like to hear some of the story, go to patreon.com/from behind the barcast. I'm going to leave you guys with I want you to send in some suggestions. I'm going to ask you one. I had a lot of adventures the other day with my buddy.
Good.
And one of the things was one of the things that we talked about was when you don't know a person's name, which happens a lot. He goes, yeah, I didn't know his name. So I go, what's happening, big guy? Yeah. So I go, I think big guy, if we're going to rank the worst things to call someone when you don't know their name, I think big guy automatically goes, this motherfucker doesn't know my name. Okay. Now, I advise to say brother.
Yeah,
because it's endearing a little bit.
I don't know, man. Don't give away your pull back the veil here.
Maybe let's save that for the Patreon too. Oh my god,
veil, be like,
Oh, almost forgot. One more thing.
Giving away the magic tricks.
Yeah, that's true. One more thing before we go to Patreon. I forgot about this. I met these 2 guys the other day, and we just get to talking, and they asked what I did. I was like, I'm a bartender. Yeah. And then on the side, I was like, I interview people and do a podcast, stuff like that. And one of the guys was like pretty interested, and he goes, "Oh, well, what would make a good guest for you? Who
knows?"
And I was like, "Well, I think an EMT would be an interesting guest." And I gave him the really short rundown. I gave him the short rundown. I was like, yeah, because I saw these EMTs smashing hot dogs. What if they had to run up 7 flights of stairs and find grandmother beheaded, right? Right?
Yes.
So the other guy with him goes, you got to have a really sick mind to think of something like that. 2 seconds later, he's like, hey guys, where's all the pussy? Did you eat it all?
Oh God!
I'm like, and now listen, for the rest of that day,
Darren.
Yeah, anything having what resembled a vagina, he was like, check out the pussy on that pussy.
Oh no!
But me thinking about an EMT and what having to, you gotta have Kelly, you gotta have a sick mind.
I don't know. No. I think you have a benevolent spirit that wants to help people in general and provide a service for your community.
But really, did you eat all the pussy? That's the question everyone wants to know. Where's all the pussy? Did you eat it all?
It's only on the Patreon, right?
Right. So, we love you guys. Follow us on Instagram. If you're watching this on YouTube, please subscribe to the channel if you'd wish. Go back and listen to the last episode, and we'll see you at the Patreon.
Man, my hat came off. It looked like I was bald.